A sharp slap echoed through the crowded supermarket. Smack. The sound was so sudden that conversations stopped mid-sentence. Shopping carts froze in place. A child stopped crying. A young store manager had just slapped an old man across the face, hard enough to make him stumble backward into a checkout counter. The impact rattled the metal. The old man's glasses flew off his face and skidded across the tiled floor. For a brief second, no one moved. Then phones came out. People raised their screens instinctively, hungry for something shocking to record. Some gasped. Some whispered. A few laughed nervously, unsure if they should be amused or disturbed. "Don't touch the products unless you're buying," the manager shouted, his voice loud and sharp. "You think this is some kind of museum?" The old man didn't answer. "Stay with this story. What happens next will change the way you see this moment." He bent down slowly, his movements careful, almost fragile. His hands trembled slightly as he picked up his glasses from the floor. He wiped one of the lenses with the edge of his sleeve and placed them back on his face. He didn't shout. He didn't accuse. He didn't even look angry. He simply stood there. No one in that store knew who he was. No one knew why he had come. And no one knew that the next few minutes would quietly dismantle everything that manager thought he understood about power. The old man's name was Samuel Whitaker. He was 71 years old. For more than 40 years, Samuel had worked as an electrician, not the kind who owned a big company or drove a fancy truck. He was the kind who showed up when the lights went out in schools, hospitals, and old apartment buildings. He fixed wiring most people never saw, problems people only noticed when something went wrong. Samuel never liked attention. He believed good work spoke for itself. That morning he had woken up early, put on his cleanest jacket and taken the bus across town. Not because he needed anything, because his grandson had just been accepted into college. The boy was bright, quiet, curious. But there was one problem. No computer. Samuel had spent months saving small amounts of money, skipping little comforts, fixing neighbors' outlets for less than he was worth. All so his grandson wouldn't start college already behind. That laptop was meant to be a gift, not just a machine, a message. "I believe in you." But when Samuel stepped into the supermarket's electronics section, that intention vanished behind appearances. People saw his worn brown jacket, his old shoes, the way he stood quietly, reading labels instead of asking questions. To them, he didn't look like a customer. He looked like someone who didn't belong. Samuel approached a display laptop carefully. He rested his fingers on the keyboard for just a moment, testing the keys the way he once tested switches and wires. That was his only mistake. "Hey!" The voice came from behind him, sharp and impatient. Before Samuel could turn around, the slap landed. The sound echoed louder than anyone expected. "Get your hands off that," the manager snapped. "You people always think you can touch whatever you want." Samuel felt the heat rush to his face. His cheek burned, but what hurt more was the laughter that followed. "Probably here for free Wi-Fi," someone muttered. Another chuckled. The manager stepped closer, puffed with confidence. "If you can't afford it, don't waste my time," he said. "There are real customers waiting." Samuel swallowed. He had been insulted before in his life, but never like this. Still, he said nothing, because dignity doesn't need permission to exist, and it doesn't announce itself. Samuel turned and walked out of the store. No argument, no explanation. People barely noticed him leave, but Samuel didn't go home. Across the street stood a small computer shop. The sign was faded, the windows weren't spotless, but inside, the lights were warm. A young woman stood behind the counter, organizing cables. When she saw Samuel enter, she smiled, not because she expected a sale, but because she saw a person. "Good afternoon, sir," she said. "How can I help you today?" No suspicion, no judgment, no impatience. Samuel hesitated for a moment, then pointed to a modest laptop on the shelf. Would this be good for college? He asked quietly. She nodded. It would. It's reliable, and it lasts. Would you like to sit and try it? She pulled out a chair for him. That simple gesture changed the air. For nearly an hour, she explained things slowly, patiently, never once talking down to him. Samuel listened carefully, nodding. When she finished, she smiled again. So would you like to buy it? Samuel didn't answer right away. You treated me like a human being, he said softly. That matters. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a thick envelope. I'll take 12, he said. Her smile froze. 12? She repeated, stunned. For my grandson, Samuel said, and for 11 other students who won't get one otherwise. She stared at the envelope, overwhelmed. Across the street, the supermarket manager stood near the window watching. His confidence began to crack. Minutes later, his supervisor approached, furious. Do you know who that man was? The supervisor demanded. He's a major donor to the local education fund. You assaulted someone this city respects. The manager's face went pale. By the next morning, he no longer worked there. Samuel never returned to that supermarket. He didn't need to. Respect is free. Arrogance is expensive. Have you ever seen silence speak louder than words? Share your thoughts below. Stories like this are why silent dignity exists.